They told you your whole life that secrets belong to powerful people. To kings, to prophets, to chosen souls hidden somewhere far away from ordinary people like you. But tonight, something terrifying is happening. Because the secret God is about to reveal is not for the world. It's for you. And if you clicked on this message by accident, there's a reason your spirit refused to scroll away. Because heaven has been trying to get your attention for a very long time. And before this video ends, you are going to understand why certain people suddenly disappeared from your life. Why your battles became heavier, why your sleep changed, why your emotions became unstable, and why you feel like something massive is coming even though nobody around you can see it yet. Listen carefully. Do not skip, because the next few minutes may explain your entire life. There is a secret God only reveals to people He is preparing for something uncommon. Most people will never hear it. Most people are too distracted, too asleep, too attached to temporary things. But you were chosen to hear this because your season is changing right now. Not next year, not someday, now. And the frightening part is, the enemy already knows it. That's why the attacks increased. That's why confusion entered your mind. That's why betrayal came from unexpected people. That's why you almost gave up. Because darkness attacks hardest when heaven is closest to releasing something enormous. But here is the first secret God wants you to know tonight. The delay was never punishment. It was protection. Read that again inside your soul. The delay was protection. You cried because doors closed. You begged because people left. You broke down because opportunities disappeared. But what if God was saving you from something your eyes could not yet understand? What if the thing you called rejection was actually divine rescue? There are people who would have destroyed your destiny if they stayed close to you. There are places that would have poisoned your spirit. There are opportunities that looked perfect, but secretly carried disaster. And God said no because He saw what you could not see. Somebody listening right now has been angry at heaven. You've been asking, why me? Why this pain? Why this loneliness? Why does everyone else seem ahead? But God is saying, if I showed you what I prevented, you would thank me for every closed door. And this is where it becomes serious. Because the second secret is even more shocking. The people around you cannot fully understand who you are becoming. That's why you feel isolated sometimes. That's why conversations feel empty. That's why you suddenly outgrew environments you once loved. Your spirit is changing. And transformation is lonely before it becomes powerful. Look at your life carefully. The old version of you is dying. The people who only benefited from your weakness are becoming uncomfortable. The people who manipulated you are losing control. The people who underestimated you are starting to feel nervous without knowing why. Because something inside you has awakened. And heaven is saying, you are not who you used to be. But here comes the terrifying warning. Do not tell everyone what God is preparing for you. Protect your vision. Protect your peace. Protect your next move. Some blessings grow in silence. The enemy cannot stop what he cannot see. And too many people destroyed their future by announcing it too early. Not everyone clapping for you is happy for you. Not everyone smiling at you supports you. Some people study your light because they secretly fear your rise. That's why God isolated you. Not to destroy you, to separate you. There's a difference. A surgeon separates before healing. A sculptor removes before revealing beauty. And God removes before elevation. Listen. This next part is not for everybody. But if your heart suddenly started beating faster, this message is directly connected to your destiny. You are entering a season where things will happen suddenly. Sudden opportunities, sudden breakthroughs, sudden connections, sudden restoration, sudden exposure of hidden enemies, sudden elevation. You prayed for years, and heaven stayed silent. But what takes years to prepare can happen in one moment. One phone call, one meeting, one decision, one unexpected event can change your entire life overnight. And the reason God kept you hidden is because your next level requires strength ordinary people do not have. Can I tell you something most people never realize? Spiritual warfare increases before visible miracles appear. That heaviness you felt recently, that exhaustion, that strange emotional pressure, that feeling like your mind is under attack. It's not random. Hell does not fight empty people. Darkness attacks people carrying dangerous purpose. And some of you are far more powerful spiritually than you understand. That's why your life has never been ordinary. You notice things before others do. You feel energies people ignore. You sense danger before it arrives. You survive situations that should have broken you. Because God placed something uncommon inside your spirit long ago. But here is the secret nobody told you. Your greatest pain is connected to your greatest assignment. The areas where you suffered most are the same areas where you will eventually help others heal. The betrayal taught discernment. The loneliness taught strength. The heartbreak taught wisdom. The struggle taught endurance. Nothing was wasted. Not one tear. Not one sleepless night. Not one moment you cried silently while pretending to be okay. God counted all of it. And heaven is about to use it. There's someone watching this who almost quit recently. You smiled publicly, but privately you were exhausted. You wanted to disappear. You wanted relief. You were tired of fighting battles nobody understands. But hear this carefully. You survived because your story is not finished. The enemy thought the pressure would destroy you. Instead, it prepared you. And this next revelation might shake you deeply. Some people lost access to you because they were never assigned to your future. Stop chasing people God removed. Stop reopening doors heaven closed. Stop begging for attention from people who already decided not to value you. The separation hurt because your heart is genuine. But if they could walk away while you were breaking, they were never meant to stand beside you during your elevation. And elevation is coming, faster than you think. But God says there are 3 things you must do immediately. First, guard your mind, because your next battle is psychological. Fear will whisper, "You're too late." Doubt will whisper, "You're not good enough." Past failures will whisper, "You'll fail again." But those voices are not truth. They are distractions sent to weaken your faith before your breakthrough arrives. Second, stop speaking negatively about yourself. Your words carry power. Every time you say, "I'm worthless," Nothing good happens to me. I'll never succeed. You agree with darkness against your own destiny. And heaven is saying, speak life over yourself even before you see results. Third, prepare quietly, not loudly, quietly. Some people announce goals. Chosen people prepare in silence. Because when God moves, explanations become unnecessary. And now, the deepest secret. The reason this message found you tonight. God says your biggest blessing will not come from where you expect. The thing you prayed for may arrive through a completely different door. That's why confusion surrounded your plans. Because heaven was redirecting you. You thought one person was the answer. God had someone better. You thought one opportunity was everything. God had something greater. You thought your life was ending. God was rebuilding it. And soon, very soon, pieces will start connecting in ways that will shock you. You will look back and finally understand why things had to happen exactly the way they did. But please hear this warning before this message ends. Do not return to what God rescued you from. Not the toxic relationship. Not the fake friendships. Not the destructive habits. Not the environment that slowly killed your peace. Some doors are closed forever for a reason. And the enemy's final strategy is temptation through familiarity. He will try to make old pain look comfortable. Do not fall for it. You've already come too far. And tonight, God wants you to know one final thing. You are closer than you think. Closer to peace. Closer to answers. Closer to restoration. Closer to the life you cried for in secret. The pressure is intense because transition is happening. A plane shakes hardest before reaching a new altitude. And your life is reaching a new altitude now. That is the secret. The real secret. Not that your life is falling apart, but that heaven has been rearranging everything behind the scenes. The people who laughed will watch in silence. The people who doubted will become confused. The people who abandoned you will wonder how you rose so suddenly. And you will finally understand why God allowed every storm. Because storms reveal what cannot be shaken. So tonight, do not fear the waiting. Do not fear the loneliness. Do not fear the uncertainty. Because what God prepared for you cannot be stolen by delay, destroyed by betrayal, or blocked by human opinion. It already has your name on it. And when it arrives, no force on earth will stop it. But the message is not over yet, because there is another secret God has been hiding from you. A secret so powerful, most people would not believe it even if heaven itself spoke directly to them. And this is why your spirit feels restless lately. Because deep inside, you know something is changing. You can feel it. You cannot explain it, but you can sense it. It's like your soul is standing at the edge of something massive. And tonight, God is finally revealing why. Listen carefully, because the next few minutes are not ordinary words. This is confirmation. The reason your old life suddenly feels uncomfortable is because you are spiritually outgrowing it. God is separating you from environments that can no longer contain your future. That's why certain conversations drain you now. That's why fake energy irritates you. That's why crowds suddenly feel lonely. That's why you've become quieter. You thought something was wrong with you. But heaven says, no. Your spirit is awakening. and awakened people can no longer live asleep. This is why the enemy keeps trying to distract you. Phones, drama, fear, lust, overthinking, toxic attachments. Because distraction is the fastest way to delay destiny. The enemy knows he cannot fully destroy what God protected. So he tries to exhaust it instead. He tries to make you doubt yourself. He tries to make you settle. He tries to make you emotionally weak before your breakthrough arrives. And some of you watching this are fighting silent battles nobody knows about. You laugh in front of people, but cry alone. You encourage everyone else, but secretly feel empty yourself. You keep checking if anyone notices your pain, but nobody sees it. And God says, I saw every hidden tear. Every night you stayed awake worrying. Every time you almost gave up. Every moment you felt forgotten. He saw all of it. And this next revelation is going to hit hard. The reason people misunderstood you is because they only met the wounded version of you. They met you while you were still healing, still doubting, still carrying trauma, still surviving. But they have no idea who you are becoming now. And soon, the same people who overlooked you will witness a transformation they cannot explain. Because God is about to rebuild your confidence from the inside out. Not fake confidence, real confidence. The kind that doesn't beg for validation. The kind that doesn't chase approval. The kind that walks into rooms carrying peace instead of desperation. And hear this carefully. Your kindness was never weakness. Your heart was never the problem. You simply gave your loyalty to people who did not deserve access to your soul. But that season is ending. God is teaching you discernment now. You're learning that not everyone deserves your energy. Not everyone deserves your time. Not everyone deserves your trust. Some people only enter your life to test whether you finally learned your value. And many of you failed that test before. You stayed too long, loved too hard, ignored red flags, accepted disrespect, tolerated betrayal, because you feared losing people. But God says, the moment you stop fearing loss, you become impossible to manipulate. That sentence alone will change somebody's life tonight. Because your fear of losing people has kept you trapped in cycles heaven was trying to free you from. And now God is saying, no more. No more shrinking yourself. No more begging for crumbs. No more chasing people who only remember you when convenient. No more doubting your worth because somebody failed to recognize it. You are entering a season where your peace matters more than popularity. And that season will save your life. Listen carefully. This next part is urgent. There are people secretly watching you right now. Not because they love you, but because they sense your rise. They notice your silence becoming stronger. They notice your energy changing. They notice you pulling away emotionally. And it scares them, because people become uncomfortable when they can no longer control you. That's why some people suddenly act strange around you. That's why certain friendships became cold. That's why random tension appeared without explanation. Spiritual separation always happens before elevation. Remember that. And here comes the hidden truth nobody talks about. God sometimes breaks your heart to save your future. You thought losing them ruined your life. But what if keeping them would have ruined your destiny? Some people were assignments. not soulmates. Some people were lessons, not lifelong connections. And the pain came because you tried to turn temporary people into permanent ones. But heaven is correcting that now. And correction hurts before it heals. That's why you've been feeling emotionally stretched. Because God is pulling you away from who you were, so you can finally become who you're meant to be. But there is still one thing blocking many people hearing this message. Fear. Fear of starting over. Fear of being alone. Fear of failing again. Fear of trusting again. Fear of disappointment. And fear is dangerous because it creates invisible prisons. Most people are not trapped physically. They are trapped mentally. They stay in toxic places because it feels familiar. They stay around draining people because loneliness scares them. They abandon their calling because comfort feels safer than purpose. But you cannot enter your next level carrying old chains. Some of you are about to make a decision that changes everything. A decision to walk away. A decision to heal. A decision to stop tolerating disrespect. A decision to finally choose yourself. And heaven is saying, that decision will unlock doors you never imagined. But before those doors open, something else must happen first. You must forgive yourself. Yes, yourself. For the mistakes. For the wrong choices. For ignoring warnings. For trusting the wrong people. For staying too long. For doubting yourself. For every moment you became your own worst enemy. Because many of you think God is disappointed in you. But the truth is, He's been waiting for you to stop condemning yourself. Somebody needed to hear that tonight. You've carried guilt for years. You replay old memories constantly. You punish yourself mentally for things already finished. And meanwhile, God already planned your restoration. Imagine carrying shame for a chapter heaven already closed. That's what you've been doing. But tonight, that weight ends. And now listen very carefully because this next revelation may be the reason you were guided to this video. A major shift is happening around you spiritually. Certain people are about to disappear permanently. Certain opportunities are about to appear suddenly. Certain truths are about to be exposed. And certain prayers are about to be answered faster than expected. But here is the condition: you must stop resisting the transformation. The old version of you cannot enter the next season. The insecure version, the fearful version, the desperate version, the version addicted to external validation. That version must die. Because where God is taking you, confidence is required. Discipline is required. Wisdom is required. Spiritual maturity is required. And the process creating those qualities is painful. That's why you cried so much recently. You weren't breaking. You were transforming. There's a difference. A caterpillar probably thinks its world is ending before becoming a butterfly. And many of you mistook transformation for destruction. But heaven says, you are becoming, not collapsing, not failing, not forgotten, becoming. And one day soon, you will wake up and realize the pain no longer controls you. The memories no longer destroy you. The fear no longer owns you. The people who hurt you no longer have power over your emotions. That day is coming, faster than you think. And when it arrives, you will understand the secret God kept hidden all along. You were never losing. You were being prepared. Prepared for a life bigger than your fears. prepared for a purpose greater than your pain, prepared for blessings larger than your imagination, prepared for impact beyond your understanding. And the reason heaven allowed the storm was because weak versions of you could never survive the future God planned. So if you're still here listening, if your heart feels heavy, if tears formed in your eyes without explanation, take this as your sign. You are not abandoned. You are not cursed. You are not forgotten. You are in transition. And transitions are messy before they become miracles. But hold on, because the next chapter of your life will shock everyone who thought your story was over. And now, the final secret is about to be revealed. Not everyone was meant to hear this part, because what God is about to expose tonight is the hidden reason behind every strange season of your life, every delay, every betrayal, every heartbreak, every lonely night, every unexplained battle. It was all connected. Nothing was random. Nothing. And once you understand this, you will never see your life the same way again. Listen carefully, because this message may be the confirmation you prayed for in silence. The truth is, God allowed certain storms because your spirit became too attached to temporary things. You trusted people more than discernment. You chased comfort more than purpose. You depended on validation more than faith. And heaven knew that if nothing changed, you would slowly drift away from your destiny. So God interrupted your life, not to destroy you, to awaken you. That painful separation, awakening, that closed door, redirection, that disappointment, protection, that loneliness, preparation. And now you're beginning to realize something terrifying. The things you begged God to remove were actually the things destroying your peace. There are people listening right now who survived situations they still cannot explain. Car accidents, near betrayals, hidden enemies, moments that should have broken you completely. But somehow, you survived. Do you know why? Because heaven refused to let your story end early. There's still something assigned to your life. Something unfinished. Something bigger than you understand. And the enemy sensed it long before you did. That's why your battle started young. That's why peace has been difficult. That's why your life has felt spiritually heavy at times. Some people are attacked because they are weak, but others are attacked because they are dangerous to darkness. And you are far more dangerous spiritually than you realize. That's why your survival itself is a miracle. Most people would have collapsed under the pressure you carried, but you kept going, even exhausted, even confused, even heartbroken. You kept surviving, and heaven is saying, that strength did not come from you alone. Now hear this carefully. The next season of your life will require separation from anything draining your spirit, and this is where many people fail. Because healing feels unfamiliar after years of chaos. Peace feels boring to wounded people. Healthy love feels strange after toxic attachment. Silence feels uncomfortable after constant drama. So many people return to pain simply because pain feels familiar. Do not make that mistake. The version of you that kept accepting less must stay in the past forever. And yes, this next season may cost you certain people. But losing access to you is not always your tragedy. Sometimes it's theirs. Because not everyone will be allowed to go where God is taking you. Some people were only meant to walk with you during the survival chapter. But you are entering the rebuilding chapter now. And rebuilding changes everything. Listen. God says the biggest danger around you right now is distraction disguised as opportunity. Be careful. Not every open door is divine. Not every smiling face is trustworthy. Not every exciting moment is aligned with your purpose. Discernment is your protection now. Because when elevation approaches, counterfeit opportunities also appear. The enemy sends distractions before breakthroughs. Fake love before real love. Temporary excitement before lasting peace. Quick success before meaningful purpose. And if you are not spiritually alert, you may delay your own blessing by chasing what only looks good temporarily. That is why God has been teaching you patience, not punishment. Patience. Because rushed decisions create long-term pain. And many of your past wounds came from moving emotionally instead of spiritually. But look how much you've changed already. You don't react the same anymore. You don't trust easily anymore. You notice energy faster now. You walk away quicker now. You protect your peace differently now. That's growth. Even if nobody applauds it. And heaven is proud of the progress you cannot yet see. But there's one final chain God is trying to break from your life tonight. The need to prove yourself. Somebody listening is exhausted because you keep trying to convince people of your value. You try harder. Give more. Sacrifice more. Explain yourself. Love people. Overextend yourself. Just hoping somebody finally chooses you completely. But God says, stop auditioning for places you already outgrew. You do not need to beg for what is truly aligned with you. Real love does not require performance. Real friendships do not require exhaustion. Real opportunities do not require self-destruction. And the moment you finally understand that, your entire life changes. Because desperation disappears. And peace enters. Now listen very closely. This next revelation may be the most important part of this entire message. The blessing coming toward you is connected to obedience, not perfection. Obedience. God never asked you to be flawless. He asked you to trust Him enough to keep moving forward, even scared, even uncertain, even wounded. And many of you think you missed your chance. But heaven says, if you were still breathing, your purpose was still alive. Let that sink into your soul. You are not too old, not too broken, not too late, not too damaged. The enemy lied to you, and some of you have spent years believing those lies. But tonight, those lies lose power. Because the truth is finally reaching your spirit. You were chosen long before you understood why your life felt different. That sensitivity, purpose, that deep intuition, purpose, that emotional intensity, purpose, that hunger for something more, purpose. You were never ordinary. That's why ordinary things stopped satisfying you. Your spirit remembers there's more waiting for you. And soon, very soon, you are going to witness a sudden shift. Things will begin aligning unexpectedly. Answers will appear. Connections will form. Opportunities will open. Strength will return. Peace will return. Joy will return. But please remember this: when everything starts changing, Do not return to the version of yourself God healed you from. The healed version of you must stay alive. Protect your peace fiercely. Protect your energy fiercely. Protect your purpose fiercely. Because your future is too important to hand back to chaos. And before this message ends, God wants you to hear one final sentence. One sentence that will explain why you survived everything that tried to destroy you. Here it is. You were preserved because your destiny is still needed on this earth. Read that slowly inside your spirit. You were preserved. Not accidentally. Not randomly. Intentionally. Every battle you survived carried hidden purpose. Every painful lesson carried hidden wisdom. Every delay carried hidden protection. And one day, all the confusion will finally make sense. You'll understand why certain people left, why plans failed, why your heart broke, why you had to walk alone sometimes. Because if those things never happened, you would never become the person capable of carrying the blessing now coming toward you. So stop fearing the process. Stop doubting the timing. Stop questioning your worth. The chapter ahead of you is greater than the chapter behind you, and the people who counted you out will not recognize the person you are becoming, because this next version of you is stronger, wiser, more disciplined, more spiritually aware, more protected, more dangerous to darkness than ever before. And heaven is saying, you are ready now, ready for peace, ready for elevation, ready for restoration, ready for the secret blessing God prepared specifically for your life. And when it finally arrives, you will realize something incredible. God was never ignoring you. He was preparing the perfect moment to reveal who you truly are.